Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be reviewing every single book that I read in July, telling you my rating, their little review, and a little bit of a summary of each one of them. I will not be spoiling anything in these, but I am excited to talk about them. And just so you guys know, in August I will be releasing a video that is a discussion video of the Shatter Me series. So keep your eyes open for that one. I'm going to discuss every book and just talk about them, moments that had me in shock, things that I liked, things that I wish that would have gone differently, the characters, all of it. But it will be a spoiler video. So that will be more of a video that is like, you've read the series, let's talk about it. But this video, no spoilers. So if you haven't read any of these books, stick around and maybe I'll encourage you to want to read them. So let's get into it. So the first book that I read in July was the Siren. I do think I started reading it in June. I can't remember, but I did finish it in July, so it's a part of this. This book was so good. Okay, I gave this book a 5 stars for this book. The storyline was really interesting, and I'm not gonna lie, based off of the cover of it, I assumed that this book was gonna be set in like a fantasy world, you know, castles, princesses, all that. Not only based on the cover, but also by the names on the back of the book, like Colleen, Kinley. Those types of names to me just seem like the types of names that you read in fantasy books that you're like, how do I pronounce these? But no, it is not based in a fantasy world. In fact, this is based in modern times, which I thought was going to take away from it, but in fact, it really added to the story, and I think it just made it really, really interesting. As you can tell, it's about sirens. The main siren, her name is Colleen, which I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that's how I pronounce it. She basically becomes a siren, and sirens have to be a siren for, I believe, 100 years was the saying. And she is not allowed to talk to people. They're not allowed to sing. Like, they can only talk amongst other sirens, otherwise their voice will just automatically lure people into the ocean. But she ends up meeting a guy, and he doesn't seem to mind that she doesn't talk. He tries to communicate with her through other ways, and it's really, really cool. But I thought it was gonna just be really like sweet and aw, but it has such a climax, and the way it ended was so cool. The ocean even is a character. Like, it's not just the ocean. The ocean like communicates and talks with them, and it's this whole thing. So the love story is cute. It's also an exciting and dangerous adventure that they go on, and I just think the overall story was fantastic. So I do recommend you read this one. As always, Kira Cass is my favorite author. I loved 1,000 Heartbeats. I love The Siren. I should probably read the Selection series next, but I haven't. So yeah, that's my review of The Siren. Okay guys, I'm sorry if I sound a little weird at all. I'm a little bit under the weather, but I'm doing a lot better right now, so we're filming this video. The next book that I read, which is a part of the Shatter Me series, is Restore Me. As you guys know, I completely love the Shatter Me series. It was so good. I'm so sad that I finished it. I finished it here in July, so I'll be reviewing the last ones. But it was so, so good. So I read Restore Me. I think it was Restore Me, Defy Me. And then Imagine Me. And then I also read the last little novella, Believe Me. And it's over, just like that. Anyways, let's review them. Okay, so I'm giving, was that a word? I'm giving Restore Me 5 stars because this book was really, really interesting. This one takes place 16 days after Juliet steps into power, which, if you've read the other ones, you understand that. So I might say a few things about these 3 that might give away a little bit of the other 3 books, so that's a heads up. Nothing super major though, so don't worry. I think this story was really, really interesting, and I think it shows a lot about how, like, the preparation for leadership, and how I feel like we see her become powerful, and then she's kind of like, you see her become like small again. I don't know. So that's how I'm responding. As I said, I can't really fully express everything about these books in this video without spoiling. That's why I'm doing the discussion video soon, because I want to be able to discuss and talk through all the craziness that these books go through, but I can't do that without spoiling, so I want to spoil it. But yeah, Restore Me, 5 stars, really good. I believe this book, let me see something real quick. Yeah, this one was only 435 pages, which Defy Me is a lot smaller than this one. So surprisingly though, this one I went through it a lot quicker. This one was very fast paced. I read it in a couple days. So that's the good thing about these books. Because these books go really fast paced, it's exciting. Like if you're going on a trip, I recommend you take 2 of them, because you're gonna end up wanting to read the second one right away, or the third one, or whatever one's after the one that you're reading. Just because they go fast paced, you read them a lot faster than you think that you would read a book. So that's my little 5 cents on this pace of these books. But on to the next one. Defy Me is also a 5-star read. This one was very interesting. Once again, I can't say anything about this without spoiling it, so I can't say anything about it. That's the thing about series, is like when they're all in there, it's so hard because you spoil. Anyways, not spoiling it. It's a good book though. I will say, I did feel like these all give like different perspectives. So this one has Warner and Juliet's perspective, and I want to say, yeah, Defy Me has Warner, Juliet, and Kenji's perspective. Kenji, we love Kenji, although sometimes Kenji gets on my nerves, I'm not gonna lie. But I love that it gave like 3 different perspectives, and I think Restore Me was just Juliet and Warner's perspective. Yeah, which I really liked. I really liked getting Juliet and Warner's perspective. I honestly was a little bit of like confused when I saw Kenji's perspective, because I was like, how important can Kenji be? But it's important that you have Kenji's perspective, so hang in there. And then lastly, or not last for the series, there's one more, but second to last is Imagine Me, and let's review that one. Okay, so for Imagine Me, I gave it 4 stars. Here's the thing, okay? This book gave me so many different emotions. I was frustrated, I was happy, I was cringing, I was excited, I was nervous, I was scared, a whole bunch of different emotions literally throughout. This one mostly, it's just Juliet and Kenji's perspective, which I'm going to admit I was a little upset that there wasn't any of Warner's perspective, because there was moments where I wish there would have been, just to kind of see how he was handling it or how he was feeling, because you couldn't really know. I don't know, there was things like that where I wish he would have been able to have like his thoughts, but there wasn't. Although Kenji's perspective was still good, I just would have rather had Warner's. Juliet really comes through in this book, man. It was very exciting. I really, really liked it. There was definitely moments that was like, okay, maybe I should not say that. Oh, if you want to know what I'm gonna say here, you have to watch the other video. But anyways, very exciting book. Very sad. There is more violence in this one, so I would recommend you, if you don't like violence, if you don't like that type of description, don't read these 3, because these 3 all have more intense graphic scenes, which even was a little bit more for me, because I don't typically read that, but it is in this book. Same thing with, like, as always, there's always a little bit of spice in each of these books. I can't remember which one had the least amount. I want to say it was Imagine Me that had the least, or maybe it was Defy Me. I can't remember. I'll figure that out. Anyways, but yeah, so 4 stars for this one, mostly because it didn't have Warner's perspective, and there was just moments that I felt like it was dragging out a little bit, and I was like, can we get to the ending? Can we fix this problem now, or no? But the ending was good, so yeah. The last, I almost ended the video. The last little installment of the Shatter Me series is Believe Me. This one is also a 4 stars, and so many people gave it a 5 stars, but I only gave it a 4, and I'll explain why. I did annotate this one, as you can see all my little notes and stuff, which was my first time annotating a book just for fun. Typically, I only annotate for school when they're like, hey, annotate this book. But I'd enjoy doing all the little highlighter stuff, and you know, it was cute. It was a fun experience. I read it in like a couple days. So as you see, all the little pink highlights are kind of hard to see on the video for some reason. I only gave it a 4 stars because of this, okay? First, it was cute. I enjoyed it. It was nice to see them in love. Second, this book played with my emotions so much, which is good. It was good. It was exciting. I'll admit that. But I was a little upset because I was like, you made me feel like this is... Anyways, a little upset about that one. But it was still good. That's not really the reason why I gave it only 4 stars. The other reason is because the book just kind of leaves you like wanting more, but not in that way of like, oh, that was so good, I want more. It just kind of left you with like, you just wanted a little bit more. Just like 2 more minutes more, you know? And it was like the fact that you couldn't give me those 2 more minutes was like, really? You couldn't do that? Like, you just had to leave it like that? That's how you end it? That was the type of feeling that it gave me, which left me just frustrated, not like that frustration after you read a book that ends up being like, man, that was so good. It was just like, that was just frustrating. So yeah, overall though, really good storyline. It's all from Warner's perspective, so I really enjoyed that. And I like that we get to see Julia and Warner's relationship in a different way. Like, you get to see them come into this, I don't know, more adult type thing. There also is a little bit that I skipped in here. Like, I think there's one scene that was really not necessary that I skipped. I even wrote in my annotation, skip. So, anyways, that's that. And I have one more book actually that I forgot to show you in the beginning of the video. Okay, so the last book that I read this in July, or not the last book, I kind of read it while I was reading the Shatter Me series. I started this book a while ago, and this is like a self-help book type thing, and typically those take me forever to read, but I was dedicated. I was like, I am finishing it this month. So I finished like half of the book, which was all that I had left, and it's called Live Fearless by Sadie Roberts. This book is all about going from faith to fear, and if you struggle with anxiety, this book is so helpful. I just think that she gives very practical tips that are very helpful. And as you read through the book, she'll give like, ooh, that was in there. What is this? It always seems impossible until it's done. I don't know where this came from, but it was in there. She gives verses that help you, and I love how she's always giving, let me find it. At the end of the book, she has all the verses that she uses throughout and just other verses to help you live fearless. And I really enjoyed that. So one of the verses is Isaiah 41:10, and it says, so do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Another one is Matthew 6:34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. John 14:27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. This book was just so helpful. So many great analogies, and just overall really helpful. I wish I would have read through it sooner, but I think God used the timing that I read it at the right time. Like, there was moments where I'm like, oh, I feel like this, I'm just gonna read this book today, and exactly what it talked about was what I needed. So this one's a 5 stars, of course, but yeah, give it a read. Okay, so those are the books that I read, but I did want to say one last thing. I started reading this book in July, and I did not finish it. I stopped at like chapter 7, which is like about here. I put this little sticky note because I do want to finish it later on this year. I was not in the mood to read it, so I stopped. I wasn't going to force myself. It was putting me in a book slump, not because it wasn't a good book, but just because I was just not in the mood for a cold winter murder mystery. So I'll show you what I picked up instead and what I started reading a week ago in July, and I will finish here in August. I started reading The Shadow of What Was Lost. It is part of the Licinius trilogy. I could be saying that wrong. It's a pretty big book, probably the biggest one I've read in a while, and honestly it intimidated me until I realized, well, I read like 2 400-page books earlier this month within like a week or two. I think it was only a week, so I can read a 700-page book. It's no big deal. So I'm trying to hype myself up and get myself ready for it. I'm only like 100 and something pages in. So far it's really good. It takes your attention to read this book. You cannot like blank out while you're reading it and then just like come back into focus. You'll be like, what did I miss? Something clearly happened that was very important. But I'm excited to read this trilogy. I'm not sure if I'll finish it in August because school's starting and things are going. I'm actually leaving for Texas tomorrow, which is, but yeah, I'm excited. So I'm reading this. So far so good. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm so excited to read more books and review them for you. Let me know if you've read any of these books. If you have, I want to know what rating you would give them out of 5 stars, or share your thoughts below. I hope you guys have a great week. I love you, and I'll see you next time.